Apparently I'm live, which is great. YouTube changed some of their stuff about live shows. This is the last time I did them, so I'll just wait for a little bit and make sure people know that this is happening. Let me tell people. Send something to Twitter. Okay, cool. Hello. I'm so glad that the chat is back. The last time I did this, chat was not working. It's very weird. I was very upset. So this time it looks like it's actually going to work. Also, underneath this blanket is a very ugly paisley. I'm going to let some of you see, look at that. Oh my God. So I found this wolf blanket. You can't probably tell it's a wolf blanket to put up because I'm like, I need my background on my 5-year BookTube anniversary to properly depict who I am as a person. So this works so much better. Never click so fast. You're sweet. You are sweet. I want to make sure that there's some time for people to get on here a little bit. But I'll start chatting. I don't know if anyone tweeted me stuff they want me to talk about. Oh, people did. I kind of planned this last minute. I knew, yeah, so there's two wolves. There's a wolf here. Wolf here, yeah. I knew that this was coming up, and I thought it was actually a couple days ago, my 5-year anniversary, and only because my friend group was talking in a group text, and we're like, when was our first Y'all Fest that we went to together? And that was 2015. So I knew that I started my channel in 2014, and I knew it was in July. So I went back and looked at my first video, which was a review, and found out that it was July 4th, which is very odd that I uploaded on July 4th. Very patriotic of me in a way that I was not planned. And you'd think that I would actually remember more since it's July 4th, but I never do. So yay, 5 years. How's being back in your home state? It's so nice. I've realized lately, I might have talked about this on social media. I don't remember. I really I want to move. I don't like where I live in Delaware. I've never liked Delaware. I was never there by choice. And I don't think I particularly love the East Coast. I love things about it. I think I would like visiting on a regular basis, and I would because I have some friends that live out there. I don't know if I want to live there. I mean, currently I live in the Mid-Atlantic area, Delaware. I think I would like the Northeast more, possibly. But I also love more forests and lakes and things like that. So the Midwest is kind of that. Right now I'm looking out my bedroom window, my childhood bedroom window, and I see just expansive trees. Behind houses, there's houses, but there's space between them. And then there's trees. There's so much foliage. I mean, I want to show you guys so you fully understand. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll get the strength up to be like, it's fine. Don't come and try to kill me. But it's so nice. So I think the forested areas appeal more to my soul, even though I'm not even in a rural area. I'm in a city. My hometown's a city. But yeah, I prefer the green space a ton. How does it feel to be doing this for 5 years, and do you ever get bored? I am sort of blown away by the fact that I've been doing this for 5 years. It feels like I've been doing it forever. It also feels not like I just started. I definitely don't get the feeling I just started. I just also feel like it's more like 3 years. It's cool because I feel like I've seen a lot of things happen in BookTube. BookTube continues to grow, which is fun, but it still has remained kind of niche. I like that we're not huge, big celebrities, even though sometimes people think that they are. And I like the environment and the things that have happened, and how we've continued to learn and grow over the years. The conversations we were having when I first joined BookTube to the conversations we're having now, some of them are the same, but there is some evolution there, and it's cool to watch. As far as getting bored, I wouldn't really say I get bored. I still really want to do it. I actually put Top 5 Wednesday on a hold because I've been doing Top 5 Wednesday for 3 years now when Lainey handed over to me. And I was finding myself uninspired by doing that. I wanted to kind of think outside of the box, or I would think of a Top 5 Wednesday topic that I wanted to do in a more in-depth video. So I kind of put that away as a thing that I was doing. And we'll see if I go back. Right now I'm leaning towards no. So the coffin might be sealed on Top 5 Wednesday. We will see. But had a good run. But that was making me feel uninspired. And there's a lot of video ideas I have and things I want to do. And I continue to like making content, watching content. I've actually kind of in the past month and a half or so been wanting to find more BookTube content. I have a really varied subscription feed. So I was kind of wanting to find more stuff again and newer people and just kind of watch a lot of book content. But the YouTube algorithm still makes it really hard to find, and it's just really annoying. So I need to start going through and just finding people based on reviews of books that I like, which is just tedious. It's a tedious process. So yeah, and I enjoy like middle of the year. There's mid-year goals and there's all this stuff. But yeah, I'm glad that I'm here still. Let me see. At 5 years in, what's your number one tip for anyone just starting BookTube now? That's kind of a hard question because the environment's kind of different now with YouTube in general. Because I'm somebody that watches a lot of YouTube, just, like beauty gurus, things like that. And I kind of compare BookTube to kind of the beauty guru system as well, where YouTube has just become so evolved now that you honestly, like you could jump in and just be on your webcam and make book content. You absolutely can. Are you probably going to get seen by a lot of people? Not that should be your goal, but if you want engagement, are you probably going to get the engagement that you want, even at a lower level? Probably not, because now the odds are, there's more BookTube content. People are producing higher quality content, things like that. Do you need to go out and buy like a huge system? No. But most people have a camera that can film in HD at this point, whether it's on their phone or something. Lights on Amazon can be like 40 or $50. So maybe consider putting a little bit of investment into it. I think investing in your content is a big thing that people don't necessarily talk about. And not that you should do it right off the bat and get the highest quality everything in order to get subscribers. No. But just like, I'm not so sure that the tip of just pop up your camera and start talking about books is actually like at all valid anymore. Like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Is it going to be as rewarding because the amount of engagement you're going to get? Probably not, as to be completely honest. So I don't know if that's my number one tip. Also, like my number one tip that everyone says is to like talk to people, engage on people's content, leave comments on people's videos, try to make friends, things like that. That's like the biggest thing. But I just wanted to do something a little different. See, in the tree right outside my house, there's a cardinal. It's like 10 feet away from me. I just want to be one with nature, honestly. This is a change in scenery from the Instagram lives. I'm so used to those. Yeah, I do a lot of Instagram lives. I probably do Instagram live like once every 1 to 2 weeks, usually with Get Ready With Me's. So yeah, this is definitely different. If you move to Florida, you can have a crocodile in your backyard. Here's the thing about Florida. Florida is terrifying. Florida you should need a passport to go down there. The bugs are too large because you don't have winter to kill them. There are dinosaurs that live down there. I like visiting Florida. I have friends in Florida. BookNet Fest is in Florida. I like Florida as a place. Do I want to live there? Do I think that it will feel like home to me? No. What's the conversation on BookTube that you wish was happening, but that isn't? It's not so much a conversation that isn't happening. I talk about this a lot. I feel like a lot of conversations that are happening are still the same conversations that have been happening. And they're still like the most basic 101 level stuff. And while that's still like sort of needed because there's always new people that are coming and learning, whatever, it's like, guys, how are we not past this? Like there needs to be 102, 103, 104 level conversations about some of these topics, not the same, especially for diversity, patting each other on the back for doing the most basic ass shit. Like the most basic. So I feel like just broadening those conversations, and that's part of BookNet Fest, not to like toot our own horn or anything, but that, every single one of our panels is a diverse panel, not just a panel on diversity. We don't have a panel on just diversity because all of our panels discuss diversity and have diverse creators on them and have creators of different platform sizes and all this stuff. So the event that I created with Mari is about this at its core, because we're so sick of seeing just like, yes, some people need beginner classes still, but a lot of us have been taking the beginner classes for years, and we want the higher level stuff now. Ooh, I missed some stuff. You guys really asking me questions. Um, what are your favorite BookTube videos to watch? Y'all, some of my favorite videos to watch are still like wrap ups and stuff, because you get the most bang for your buck. Like, I have not all the time in the world to be watching YouTube videos. So if I can watch like 8 mini reviews so that I can know like a couple of books to maybe check out larger reviews on, I love watching those. I love watching any goal type videos, and anything having to do with like, for my interest, anything having to do with like getting your TBR down, anything having to do with like niche themes that I like, and discussion videos and things like that. So I like a lot of the bread and butter of BookTube, because it's bread and butter for a reason. I don't love hauls. I don't tend to watch a ton of hauls. I used to really love hauls, and now I'm like, I need a little mini review with this. So wrap-ups are still like my absolute favorite. And I love filming them. They're like my favorite videos to film. They're some of my favorite videos to watch. I just really enjoy them. What's one thing you love about BookTube? Oh, I like so many things. I just like that there's a community of people that can talk about books, because as most people that join BookTube, I don't have any real life friends to talk about books with. So this allows me to do that and to talk about like fandom and just talk about a lot of media stuff, which is really fun. I like the community around it. I like that generally speaking, we're all like pretty nice people that will, talk to others and understand that most of us probably are introverted and have social anxiety, and it's fine. Yeah, and just that there's a community out there that talks about books. And that's super fun. Who are your favorite beauty gurus? My favorite is Samantha, is it Ravendall? Yes, Ravendall. And who's my other one she's my absolute favorite beauty guru. That I watch every single beauty video. Have I watched anybody else recently that's a beauty guru? I like Jamie Page. They're like friends. Those are my two favorites. I don't watch a ton of beauty videos anymore, because I also don't need a ton of makeup. So I'm not going to watch a ton of beauty videos and try to buy more makeup, because I have the stuff I need. Do you have a favorite booktuber you'll watch whatever they put out? Mari, which is like not fair, because she's one of my best friends here. But Mari from My Name is Marinez, spelled like Marines. I watch every single one of her videos, because sometimes they're infrequent. And so I'm just like, please. I really like Just Read's books. I really like, I'm coming to a blank. I'm just thinking of people that I watched today, but that's not necessarily like people that are my favorites. I like Ellie Kuvir books. Talked about her recently. I'm really trying to find just more like fantasy content. I love Elizabeth from Books and Pieces. I watch her usually. Although she leans more sci-fi than I tend to, but I still tend to watch her videos because she's a delight. I watch basically all my friends' videos. Who do I like that's like, I feel like there's someone sassy that I could talk about, but I don't. Mari's sassy. Like those are like, Mari's the one that I come to mind instantly. Like, she puts out a podcast, she puts out a video, I'm watching it like the same day. It's just the nature of it. The YouTuber that I watch every video they put out, that sometimes I talk about book stuff, not a lot, and mostly like movies and media, is Lindsay Ellis, who is a goddess among mortals. So watch her stuff. Which book in the Raven Cycle series was your favorite? I think Dream Thieves, because I love Kavinsky. It's my trash son. I like the which makes me hopeful for like the Caught on the Hawk. Is that the Ronin stuff? I love all of the characters, not just Ronin. So I don't want to be like, oh, it's because it's a Ronin book, I love it. Not really. I just really liked the dynamic of Kavinsky and Kavinsky as a villain, more so than the main villain in the rest of the series. I want to write a book one day, and when I first discovered you, it was a video where you talked about YA fantasy not having good finales, and I've written it down and highlighted. Love the advice. Yes, please give us fulfilling finales that actually have consequences for things that happened earlier in the series, and where not everybody ends up paired up romantically and not everybody ends up okay. It's not realistic for mostly world-ending apocalyptic situations. I'm so sick of it. Adult fantasy does it too sometimes, and I'm like, I'm not here for this. How are the animals doing? So my air conditioning is like semi-fixed now, I think. I'm not there, obviously, so it's worked intermittently for a day and a half at a time. So I don't know. It's coming up on that marker, but I think they're good, and Amanda's watching them, so they're probably having a grand old time. When you watch videos from other communities, do you leave comments? And if you do you comment with your BookTube account, or do you have a separate one? I don't leave comments a ton unless something speaks to me. Mostly because if I watch a video that's like a gaming video or like somebody that has a very large channel, I don't want trolls to find me and my BookTube channel. So I tend to not. I don't tend to comment except for on BookTube stuff. Sometimes I'll do beauty stuff because I feel like I just get lost in the wash of comments. But otherwise, I tread lightly when it comes to commenting on other communities, because other communities are scary. What's your opinion on if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything about book reviews? Is it fair for other readers? The don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all thing is stupid. Although I've never really heard someone say that. I've heard a lot to not tag authors in negative reviews, which is absolutely true. Like, why be an asshole? They don't need to see that. It's not for them. Like, negative reviews and even like reviews in general are not for the authors. There is room for criticism in other avenues for authors. As far as like reviewing their stuff, like, don't tag them in negative reviews, but also like reviews are for whatever opinion that you have, whether it's positive or negative, and being like, oh, don't say something if it's not nice. It's like, why not? I don't live that way in any other part of my life. Like, I will be bluntly professional, but I will say if something's like something I don't agree with, or something's not right, or something didn't live up to my expectations, or whatever, whether that's about media or other things. So I will always speak my opinion when it comes to reviews. What are some suggestions to get out of a major reading slump? I typically will just lean into my other hobbies, and I think people should do this more. I think a lot of times people fight the reading slump and are like, I just want to read, which is understandable. But if you really are finding that when you sit down to read, you just can't, and you're not loving anything and it's horrible, then I'm sure you have other hobbies, and try to do those. That's when I find that I'm going to be watching more TV, probably more likely playing more video games, and that's fine. And then when I feel like I really want to get into a book again, I try to reach for something that's like a fast-paced YA. Like, that's not the time to go into like a literary fiction, unless that's something that you read quickly. But I just tend to go for something that's like fairly easily digestible, something that I probably think is going to be like a 3 to 3.5 stars. That's not going to put me in a foul mood because it's bad, but it's also not going to be the best thing ever because I don't want to read something that I'm going to love necessarily in a reading slump, because I might not love it because of my slump. So I tend to kind of go for like the junk food of books when I get back into it, and then usually that sets off me reading a lot more. Are you scared the Witchlands are going to go downhill? Absolutely not. I think the Witchlands are only going up, and I actually have a lot of faith in Susan Dennard as a writer that she's going to keep them going up, or just keep the level that they're at, as far as, because they're all 5 stars. I don't have any fears of it going downhill. I think other series that I've loved that have gone downhill, I've sort of been able to see in the distance and being like, no, please don't. And then it does. Falling Kingdoms being one. But I don't see any hints that Witchlands is going to get worse. If anything, it's getting better. It's getting more expansive. It's getting more complicated. I'm so happy with it. So no fears there. There's a huge conversation about Florida happening in the chat, so that's funny. Would you rather live in a world like Avatar: The Last Airbender or a world like Shadow and Bone by Lee Rodrigo? So I've only watched like 5 episodes of Avatar. I know, I'm sorry. It's hard to access. I think I don't know enough about like all the politics and what's happening in that world to know if it'd be safer to live there. I kind of feel like Ravka's like, well, I mean, most of the like the Grosserverse. Is it great to live there? Don't know that it is. I kind of feel like it's not. Where I feel like there might be spaces of calm in the Last Airbender universe. I get that sense. Like there's a couple villages that they visited and then they get burned down because the Fire Nation comes. But I feel like if the Fire Nation doesn't come, it's kind of safer. I feel like there's just like lots of bad stuff happening kind of in general in the Grishaverse. I guess unless I'm a Grisha. But even if you're a Grisha, it's bad in some parts. So I just kind of feel like it's probably safer in the Last Airbender universe. I'm not sure. Any thoughts on creators being friends with authors? It seems like it's always a problem when someone publishes a book. Are you talking more about if a booktuber creates a book? Because I feel like it's not like you can be unbecome friends with that author, but I think a lot of people have learned that do review books that booktubers have made to say like, I can't actually review this because it's my friend's book. You know what I mean? I haven't had any friends come out with books, just people I know in like a, what is this, a professional capacity? I don't know. I kind of consider other booktubers colleagues. So I've known people, but nobody that I would say is like my best friend. So I'm going to be super biased. And I haven't wanted to read any of their books anyway, just because I wouldn't read them if they were written by some other person. So I'm not going to read them just because they're a booktuber book. So I think people have gotten kind of better about being like, I can't really review this. We can talk about it and be like, I really liked it. They're also my friend, blah, blah, blah. Like, I think I'm going to have a hard time when like Lainey or Sarah Jane, two friends that are like probably the closest to coming out with books, as in they're still writing their stuff, but like, you know, more close to finished drafts. If they come out with stuff, I'm going to be like, oh, I'm actually really nervous about it, because I would probably still talk about it, and I wouldn't review it, but I think any friend that I have knows that like I would say if I didn't like something about it, and hey, tell me now if you don't want me to say anything about it, then I'm not going to read it, kind of thing. But I still wouldn't consider it a review because they are my friend. So it gets complicated, I guess. Let's see. Oh, there's apparently somebody like just blowing up the chat. So I'm gonna hide that so I don't need to like get lost in the confusion. Isn't that fun when on my YouTube chat I get more derogatory comments and stuff about genitalia than I do on my dating app, where I was very afraid that I was going to get dick pictures, but I haven't. And yet here, on a thing about books, I get that stuff. Isn't that odd? Straight men, you're so odd. How do you even live in this world? I don't know. I have to sort through all the message deleted. Okay. Do you play any instrument, and what have you been listening to lately? I used to play violin and piano. I wish I would have kept those up. I played violin poorly, so I never really got into it. I played piano, probably still poorly, but better than I played. I like took lessons for a few years, and I've forgotten all those lessons. What have I been listening to lately? Currently, my like favorite album, I think it's called XYLO, is the band. I'm listening to them a lot. And then I found a playlist on Spotify called Swagger, which is kind of fun. So I've been listening to that, shuffling through. Not every song is great for me, but that kind of stuff. And then I have my same playlist I listen to over and over. So, gamer question: do you like Ratchet and Clank? I've never played it. It was always a series that I think I wanted to play and then just never did. I was a Crash Bandicoot person back in the day, and PlayStation 2. So that was a fun time, but I never got into Ratchet and Clank, but I feel like it's very similar. Is there any news in the next Tome Table readathon? I kind of hinted that I think it'd be in August. I'm unsure. So the last two times, if we do have it in August, it will have coincided with the Magical Readathon, which is just this whole undertaking that I also participate in. So I'm kind of feeling like I think I need to have it in August. It's my birthday month. It just feels right that the readathon that I birthed would happen in my birthday month. And then it also leaves a little bit of enough time before I have another one in November, because I typically have them in November. So I'm thinking it'll be like late August. Keep your eyes peeled. I have to kind of ask the other not judges, hosts, if they want to do August, and then probably be late August. Especially because Magical Readathon does have some prompts that like really do overlap. One of the prompts is to read a book over 500 pages, so like you can stack those. It's just like it's a lot of readathons to do at once. But basically every month has like a ton of readathons now, so it doesn't even matter, and I shouldn't even think about it that way. What's the book series that disappointed you the most ever? More like from being amazing to being trash. Disappointed me the most ever. I think Fallen Kingdoms might be that. Not because it was really ever amazing, but I really did like it. Like there was always like a flawed series, but I still really enjoyed it. It was a really fun time because all of my friends were reading it. We were all reading it together. We were theorizing. We were like, it was just a fun fandom, like mini fandom experience. It's only really us talking about it. And then for it to be so bad at the end just makes me really angry. Cause yeah, was it amazing? It was amazing to me. Like I still really, I liked that like 3 and 4 were like 5-star reads for me. And for all the emotions that they evoked, but then they just went downhill. Are you planning on reading the new Sarah J. Maas books? Probably not. I don't think she's doing the best Fae stories. There's plenty of other Fae stuff to work with now. I'm not saying I won't read them. I'm speaking more for the adult series that she's coming out with, just because I feel like it's the same thing over and over. I don't plan to. I'll probably keep reading the Akatar stuff because I'm kind of invested in those characters already. If I don't, I wouldn't be upset. But yeah, I'm not particularly planning on reading any of her like adult stuff. What is something you're proud of that you haven't had the excuse to talk about? I tend to be pretty good about talking about things that I'm proud of, especially if it's BookTube related. Like my biggest pride and joy is obviously BookNet Fest. I'm really proud about getting my TBR down. I'm really proud of my master's degree, which I've talked about plenty. I think recently, halfway through the year, I tend to evaluate like my goals and things and whatever about like life, not just about BookTube. And I have been really good this year about learning the lesson and living that lesson of like following my own intuition. There's something about being late 20s, almost 30, where I'm like, if I can feel in my gut that I don't want to do that thing or be around that person or be with that person or whatever, I'm not going to do it. And that's come into very like plain as day to me focus in the last like year or so, and especially even the last few months. Like there's been a lot of, my word for this year was growth. Last year's word was conquer. These words sort of become self-fulfilling prophecies for me. But I'm very proud of those realizations I've been making in the last couple of years of like, I am very perceptive, both with myself and with other people, and to stop second guessing that, or to stop second guessing it because I want to be nice, and just be like, this doesn't suit me, or this relationship is no longer like symbiotic, I guess, synergistic, whatever, whether that's a relationship with work or with another person, romantically or platonically or familiar or whatever. So that's something I'm proud of that I just don't necessarily have a reason to talk about, but it's been something I've been thinking about a lot lately. Will you be rereading the Starless Scene when it comes out, or are you just going to put out a gush review? I'm going to be rereading it, but I'm filming my gush review like now, like when I get home, like next week. But I'll probably reread it right before it comes out as well, because it's lovely. And it's a really good book to read in fall. Like, yes, I just read it, but I feel like I was like, oh, I wish it was cold out. It'd be so nice. Like, it's not in a cold setting by any means. It's just one of those books that you want to like curl up with and like light candles and just read. And it's wonderful. I'm thinking of starting Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, yay or nay. I only read the first book, which is Red Queen. Didn't really like it. Was very disappointed. Got very hyped up at the time. A lot of people really like it. So maybe you'll like it. I don't know. I don't know the reason you're going into it. I'm dying for the ghost video about the Starless Scene. What edition are you buying? I am probably just going to read the American or like buy the American edition. I don't love the British ones. Like it's hard. The aesthetic of the British ones doesn't appeal to me because there's so much color, and I don't feel the book didn't give me that much color feeling personally. So it doesn't line up with the aesthetics of what I felt when I was reading the book. But the American cover doesn't necessarily match that either. If there was like a special American edition, maybe I'd do that. But at this point, I'm just going to buy a copy wherever she's touring so I can meet her again and have her sign that finished copy. So I don't really have one that I'm planning to get this like special edition or anything. What are your favorite and least favorite things about being a booktuber the past 5 years? Favorite is all the books I've discovered from other booktubers, all the friends that I've made. Like, less than a month ago, I just got back from what we called a family vacation with a bunch of booktubers, all the people that I've met through BookTube. I've met my best friend, Sarah Jane, through BookTube, and, we got to meet last year in person because she lives in Britain. That's awesome. So I've met a lot of people and made a lot of connections that I never would have made without BookTube. I'm much more aware of like the publishing industry and the publishing process and books that are coming out and books that are really interesting that are backlisted and all this stuff. Like I've just discovered a lot more about books. Least favorite things about being a booktuber. I don't know if anything is least favorite. There's some things that have happened that are mildly annoying, but aren't necessarily because of being a booktuber. There's a certain level of things that happen when you become part of a niche public eye, and then you go into public in that niche space, and that can be very challenging to navigate. That can be very emotionally draining. Nothing close to like celebrities or anything, obviously, but it's just more draining than me walking around at the grocery store on a daily basis. So that's probably one of my least favorite things, but not anything that deters me from doing BookTube and making connections and interacting with people. So yeah, I don't really have a lot of least favorite things about being a booktuber specifically. Are there any fantasy book series that would be like Guild Wars 2? Never played it, so I can't recommend. If a game were to become a book series, what would you want to read? It's so hard because games constantly try to be like book series or movies, and it never quite works because a lot of things just work for the medium in which they were made for. So it's very hard, in particular, to translate games to something else because the game relies on the player. I think I would love to read something set in the Mass Effect universe. Like a lot. I know that then there's like comics and stuff like that, but I would want something that just feels like Mass Effect that isn't based on the games. Dragon Age is kind of the same way. I feel like I would like Dragon Age stuff as well. But whenever you tend to translate video games to books, they just tend to come out kind of like really cheesy, and it just doesn't quite work the same because it's not made for the same media. As a straight man, I live in this world by being way too scared to approach women, being sad that I'm single. The life of the socially anxious. People of all genders and sexualities feel that way, sir. So it's not just about being a straight man. Yeah, that's yeah. Will you ever come to the UK? Also, I'm going to take this opportunity to say that you're my favorite ever. Thank you. I'm planning on coming Christmas 2020. So for all of my UKers, I'm going to go visit Sarah Jane, who lives in Britain. Would you be interested? I guess also I should ask this of my US people since I live in the US, but would the UKers at this point specifically be interested in me doing like a meetup? I mean, like, I feel weird saying that because that's like, what? But I don't know, like maybe go to like I don't know how Britain's set up, go to like a London suburb and do like a meetup because it'll be like one of the only times I'm ever over there. I plan on going for like 10 days. I think that would be fun. So if you think that would also be fun, let me know. Also, US people, if you live around like Philly or DC, would you want to like do a little meetup and hang out or something? I feel weird saying that. Because meetups feel like something that beauty gurus do because they have millions of subscribers. But I also feel like all of us getting together and like going to a bookshop would be super fun. I don't know. Are you excited for Medievalathon? Yes. I've already read one book. I finished a book today for Medievalathon. So I hope that I can be really good about it. I said on Instagram yesterday, I think it was, or the day before, that I happened to pick out a lot of very big books for my Medievalathon TBR, and that was unwise. But hopefully I can get through those and stop being intimidated by bigger books, just like everybody else, because I have a lot of big books left in my TBR to read for this year, and I need to get through them. But there's a lot. So I'm excited for a lot of the books that I put on my TBR, though. What series did you read when you were younger that you think still holds up, TV or books? Oh my gosh, I'm sitting cross-legged and it hurts. Okay, let's stretch. Yes. I think the Abhorsen series by Garth Nix still holds up and is lovely, and I want to do a reread of that soon. I also think that Dawson's Creek, although a lot of things are very dated, still holds up as something that I love and appreciate a lot. And I want to rewatch that as well, but maybe not season 1 or 2. I'd probably start with season 3 and go from there. I still think Buffy holds up as well. Not in the like, there's like a lot of problems with Buffy, but it holds up in the way that you can watch it and critique it and have fun with it. So it still, I think, is like worth time, you know? What are your thoughts on the Starless Scene? Does it compare to the Night Circus for you? I kind of talked about this a little bit in, maybe my wrap-up's not out yet. I think my wrap-up comes out in, on Sunday, not Sunday, Saturday. So no spoilers. I think it absolutely holds up. I think I really enjoyed it. I think if you liked the Night Circus, you'll like it. I think even if you didn't like the Night Circus, you could probably still enjoy it. I think she's a masterful writer, and I want to live in her brain. And I loved it. So I was very, very nervous going into it, which is why I tried to read it basically as soon as I got it, because I was like, if you just hold on to this, you're never going to read it because you're going to be scared. And it's so good. So it makes me so happy. Might you give And I Darken another chance? Oh, wait, what happened? What happened? Ah, okay. Because it's so good. Probably not. I don't tend to like get along very well with Kirsten White's books, although I do want to read the like, what's it called? The Guinevere something. It's coming out by her. But I've read a couple books by her now, and I'm just like, I don't think I like her writing style. And there's other things that I really would like to read. What's the video you're most proud of creating in the last year or so? I have to go through and look at them. I don't know. I'm like, I find my BookCon video, the like parody video that I did, like pretty funny. Like I'm really kind of proud of that. Like I watched that a few times after I made it and was like pretty proud of myself because I think I'm hilarious. Also, hyperbole is funny. So that's one of my favorites. I like a lot of my discussions on very niche tropes too. I find those very fun because I like watching other people's videos on that, especially if it's a trope that I really enjoy. So I like those a lot as well. Do you like Jules Verne's books? I've read some of them. I have a little collection of Jules Verne, but I don't tend to love like any classics really. So, I mean, that's not completely true. I really like Pride and Prejudice and Wuthering Heights. I probably would like Jane Eyre if I read it. I just don't tend to get the same like feelings that I get from more recent stuff. What about books translated to video games? I mean, The Witcher stuff is like that, so that tends to work out. M&B said she was so awkward when she answered that question. Which question? Since I'm far back in the chat, I don't actually know what you're referring to. So let me know which question I was awkward about. Will you be visiting Iceland at any point? I want to. I want to do a lot of traveling. I'm actually just about to renew my passport so I can go lots of places out of the country. So I'd like to go to Iceland. It's not one of my like top places because it's not a place that I've always wanted to go. It's a place I've more recently wanted to go. So yeah, I definitely do want to go. I heard it's kind of expensive though, so that's another thing too. Yeah. This year, diversity has been brought up constantly on BookTube. As someone new to your channel, in love with your channel, are you planning on doing anything to support diverse booktubers? As you're new to me, I support diverse booktubers a lot, like all the time. So BookNetFest is kind of my biggest contribution to supporting diverse booktubers, as I've talked about before, earlier, even in this chat. All of our panels include diverse creators on every single panel. I don't think any other book event specifically catering to book creators and book people has that. Specifically, every single panel. All of our panels have people from different platform sizes and things like that. So, and a variety of sexualities and everything. So that is my biggest contribution in the way of elevating people's voices on a more massive scale than I could probably even do on my own channel. I do recommendations and stuff. Again, since you're new, you might not have seen all of them, but go back over the years. I do booktuber shout out videos. I have one that I believe is specifically diverse booktuber shout outs. I do a lot more advocacy type stuff, I think, on like Twitter by elevating voices that are not mine. I feel like a lot of people get very tied up in, oh, there's a conversation, I need to speak about it. How about you retweet the person that knows more than you, that's probably a diverse creator, especially if we're talking about diversity, and elevate their voice instead. So since I feel like Twitter is where a lot of the conversations happen now, we don't necessarily always come here and film videos about things as much as people used to, because conversations are happening so quickly. I feel like they happened in a more prolonged way before, like when I first started, and they don't as much anymore. They're so quick. So it's like by the time you make a video, it's like kind of past, and people are like, "Why are you bringing this up again?" So I feel like the conversations are had, and I talk about more stuff, just general world stuff, not even just book stuff on Twitter, and again, elevating those voices and elevating those threads and things like that about people that know way more than me, because that is their lived experience. Pro Trump, do I look like it? Do you know me? Have you listened to anything I say ever? No, obviously, because if I don't say that, someone's going to be like, she never answered the question. No, my dad sometimes watches Fox News when I'm here, and I want to vomit. I actually told him today, I was like, Fox News makes me nauseous, Dad. You can't watch it in front of me. It's bad for my health. It gives me gray hairs. Ooh. Why does it, whenever I go down, it's like, I want to skip all the way to the bottom. Why am I having to put like a bunch of people on block today? Doesn't feel like it should happen. A lot of people are saying that they would be down for a meetup in the UK and in the US, so that's delightful. I'm very excited. Favorite book series? Oh man, I have so many. The Grishaverse, obviously, the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. I really like The Fate of the Tierling by Erica Johansson. Broken Earth series by N.K. Jemisin. Really, any of the series that sit behind me on my bookshelf. Gentlemen Bastards by Scott Lynch. Trying to think, because I'm like, they're not right in front of me. I'm trying to use like a semi-photographic memory. Remnant Chronicles by Mary E. Pearson. Witchlands by Susan Dennard. The Magicians by Lev Grossman. Wayward Children by Shauna Maguire. Those are some of my favorites. I probably have forgotten. Will you resume your hunt for Hades and Persephone book this year? Yes, I'm always constantly on the hunt for Hades and Persephone content. I do plan on reading Lore Olympus for anyone that is curious, but I'm still on the hunt for the books. And when I discover those books that are actually 5-star Hades Persephone content, I promise I will make a video about it. Favorite book besides The Night Circus? Standalone? Uprooted by Naomi Novik. As far as favorite book outside of like that, if like a book in a series or something, I have so many favorite books. I can't even really narrow it down. Night Circus is obviously like my favorite, but after that, it's like I don't even know what to tell you. Ooh, do you have any book tropes that you're like, I'm excited about this in theory, but in practice it falls flat somehow? Man, on the spot, I can't think of that, but I'm sure they exist. I'm positive because I feel like I've been like, oh, I like this on paper, and then like I don't when I read it. Um, I'll have to come back to that because I can't think of something off the top of my head. Ugh. I mean, any trope can sound good in theory and then fall flat. And any trope can sound bad in theory and then be great. So that's also a hard thing to kind of like nail down. Have you read the Shadow March series by Ted Williams? It seems like a series you'd really like. I haven't, but I've heard about Ted Williams. Ted Williams is it's a name that's thrown around a lot that I've heard about. Are you going to watch the soccer finals? No, I do not watch soccer. I do not participate or watch sports, really. Baseball is my only sport that I will watch. White Sox forever. Because of like just growing up, I went to baseball games and stuff. So it's the only sport that I'm even slightly interested in. Do I think about when the games are on? No. If I happen to be usually at a family member's house and it's on, I'll watch it and I won't be upset. Any other sport, I'm like, no, sorry. I think you'd like Sylvia Moreno Garcia's got Gods of Jade and Shadow. Yes, that is true. I am very excited for it to come out. It's on my most anticipated list. And yeah, Mayan mythology and Death in the Maiden vibes. I know. I read the synopsis like months ago and I was like, hot damn, I need this in my hands immediately. So yeah, I can't wait for that book to come out. Do you like Blake Crouch? Just read Recursion. Isn't Blake Crouch more of like a horror person? Maybe. I feel like. Um, how did you and Sarah Jane start talking and become so close? The magic of BookTube, y'all. So we just started commenting on each other's videos and leaving like fairly long comments, and we both had similar tastes. So we started talking about that, and then I think we started talking on like Twitter, and then we started talking on Voxer, which is a app that you can text or push to talk, kind of like walkie-talkie style. And that's how we've been friends. But really, it is as simple as like find someone whose personality seems cool to you and engage them like a friend, and they may engage back and then a friendship can be formed. But that's basically like, I think we originally bonded over like redemption arcs and Bad Boys. um, redemption arcs mostly, because I still fucking love a good redemption arc. When they're good, not when they're bad. And it kind of has gone from there. And we have like differences in book taste, but we still tend to like a lot of the same things. And recently I've been just hitting it out of the park with her for things that she now likes, like The Night Circus and Mass Effect. So she can never think I'm wrong again because I'm apparently always right. Will you give in to the quality new adult romance books this year? I'm so happy that you love The Honeymooners. I think I am warming up to the romance genre. I want more books like The Honeymooners. I steer clear of a lot of adult romance because I don't like erotica. I don't like in-depth numerous sex scenes. I can do more explicit sex scenes, like maybe 2 to 3 in a book, maybe. If it's back to back, if it's all they're doing, if there's just so much discussion of sexual activity, I'm like, please save me. But The Honeymooners, like the perfect amount. I could even have used The Honeymooners has all like fade to black sex scenes, which I'm like totally fine with, but I could have used like maybe one, like actual show me what's going on sex scene. If I was feeling feisty that day, maybe 2. But otherwise, that book was like very good for me. So yeah, I'm willing to kind of look, but I have yet to find somebody that has the exact same taste as me as far as that, because a lot of my friends either love the smut, all they want is smut, or they don't read romance at all, or they just read different genres of romance that I might not really enjoy. So I haven't found a reliable source of romance recommendations yet. I've recently finished Furyborn, and in a way made me think of Queen of the Tearling. Agreed. Have you started reading Kingsbane or planning to do so? Yes, I definitely want to read Kingsbane. I think I want to reread Furyborn though, so that's why I've been putting it off, because I feel like I've forgotten enough about Furyborn that I should probably reread it. I just don't feel like I have the time to right now, so I'm just like, oh, yeah. I bought The Bear and the Nightingale due to your recommendation, but I don't know how I feel about atmospheric books. So does the atmospheric writing hurt the world building? Always in my experience, for how I perceive books, atmospheric writing only helps the world building, in my opinion. I've never read an atmospheric book, a book that I would determine as atmospheric, and felt the world building was poor. They feed one another. Um, I'm getting ready to read Immortal Rain. Please tell me the ending was worth the long 6-book journey. Um, have fun. People might enjoy. I think the series peaked at books 3 and 4. Um, yeah. Do you like any particular superheroes? My favorite Marvel superheroes are probably Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, and more recent Thor, although not Thor from Endgame because they made him a joke and that's very upsetting to me, but Thor in like Ragnarok. Thor and Ragnarok and even in Infinity War was like so good. So I enjoy highly. DC is like, I do love a good Wonder Woman, you know? And then I think of like some of the more like classic, not necessarily comic superheroes, like Sailor Moon and like the Pink Power Ranger. I've heard Red, White, and Royal Blue is amazing, so I do plan on reading that for sure. What are your favorite graphic novels other than Saga? Saga is not one of my favorite. I mean, it is one of my favorites, but I haven't read it in a while, so I wouldn't consider it one of my like favorites. My 2 favorite graphic novels, well, 3. My 3 favorite graphic novel series are Monstrous by Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda, I think. Descender, who I don't know who writes that one. I forget. And The Wick and the Divine, which is it Kieran Gillian? I forget who writes that as well. A team does. So The Wick and the Divine, Monstrous, and Descender are my 3 favorite graphic novel series of all time. I love them so much. They're so freaking good. Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren is pretty good. Yeah, I plan on reading like some of the more recent Christina Lauren books because I hear that actually the older Christina Lauren books are more smutty. And so a lot of people that like the older stuff don't like the newer stuff. So I'm going to try to stick with the newer stuff and see if I just continue to like that. Do you like the Shadowhunter books? If yes, are you up to date with them? I've only read The Infernal Devices. It's the only series I care to read with that for them. I don't care to read any of the new stuff or the original Shadowhunter books. I do think I'm going to read The Last Hours. Is that the one? Which is whatever the series is that takes place after The Infernal Devices, I'll probably read. They're not my like absolute favorites. I don't think of them often, but I enjoyed my reading experience with them, especially the later books in that series, so I do plan on continuing. Witty Novels is a reliable source. She likes smut, but her 5 stars are top notch. I love Whitney. I can't trust people that love smut because when they're like, it's not that smutty, it's like real smutty for me. And if they're like, this is very smutty, I'm like, that's unreadable for me, you know? So it's just like, even among my friends, like I actually asked on family vacation, I was like, what are some books that are like this? Mostly faded black, maybe 1 or 2, at most 3, like explicit sex scenes. And they're like, dude, I have no idea. And there's a lot of romance readers in that group. So, Wanda and Natasha deserved a closer relationship. Yes, all of the Marvel women deserve so much more than they get, and I'm eternally frustrated about it. Are you going to make a Holy Sister review? Yes. I'm putting it off because I think something about my reading experience of Holy Sister made it so that I didn't love it as much as I should, because there's nothing actually wrong with it. I have no actual complaints. Just my feelings about it are like 3.5 star feelings, but I can't intellectually connect those to reasons. It's just my feelings. So it's very hard for me to do a review because I'm mad and I don't like I should have loved this book, and I think I was in like sort of a slump with it. It took me longer to read, and I read it on an audiobook, but I've read all of them on audiobook. I don't know what happened. So I'm kind of contemplating, like, do I want to do a full review, or do I want to do a review that also features a discussion on like what happens when you read a book that has no problems and yet you don't love it? What then? So I'm still digesting what to do about it. I've taken notes. I just don't know what to do. I'm very sad. 5 years on BookTube is a long time. Do you still feel the same way about it as you did when you first got started? I'm a little more cynical about it than I used to be, but I still love it. Like, I still, um, it's not a cynical in a way that I wanna leave it, but it doesn't have, like, the rosy outlook all the time that I did at the beginning. But I think that comes with anything. That just comes with experience of, like, life. Um, so yeah, I still feel pretty similarly that this is like a really great community where you can make a lot of friends and talk about book stuff, which is why I'm here. For me, Sarah J. Maas is too smutty. Yeah, like, um, I haven't read the later Eternal Glass books. I didn't the most that I can do is probably like the sex in like Akamath. Because there's like maybe like one or two more explicit sex scenes in that probably. And that's my threshold, you know? So anything more than that, I'm like, please stop. Please have connections based around something other than sexual activity. The five-star mess situation hits again. The victim this time is Holy Sister. Yes, but like for this time I don't have a like I can't tell you why. Usually I can be like, here's why it's 3 stars to me. But there's no the things that happened were things that should have happened in my opinion before, but I don't understand. I don't understand. Scarlet Witch deserves to be your favorite Marvel character because she is so good and she makes me so happy. She is like one of the like the most powerful Avenger. Like, it's so good. I thought Red Sister was super slow, but I still enjoyed it. I'm hoping Grey Sister picks up. I feel like Grey Sister does pick up. There's a lot of like intrigue and stuff going on in Grey Sister. It's really good. I think Grey Sister might be my favorite of the series. I like Grey Sister a lot. They're almost equal, but I think Grey Sister is my fave. I really like the audiobooks too. If you want to read the audiobooks, they're super good. So, in my opinion, she's more powerful than Captain Marvel. It's kind of same. I mean, we don't know if Captain Marvel could have destroyed an Infinity Stone, but she could have destroyed an Infinity Stone. I love her so much. I hope they utilize her more in like the next iteration of Marvel stuff. Um, I feel like Holy Sister's writing had more of an emotional detachment from the characters. It's like you're watching them instead of experience. Yes. Yes, Nicole, I agree. I will have to write that down because I did feel detached from the characters in a way that I haven't before, and I don't know why. I also didn't love the time jump that was happening. That also made me feel more detached. So I'm upset about that because I felt so connected to these characters like the whole time. Um, and then I didn't, and I was like, what happened? You could try the coincidence of coconut cake. I'll have to write that down. Have you read Kingdom of Little Wounds? I have not. I don't know what that is. What do you think of doing a video of your favorite books from the last 5 years on YouTube? I definitely could, but I feel like I talk about my favorites all the time anyway. Um, and my favorites are all a culmination of all the things I've read in the last 5 years. But maybe I could especially look over like my favorites of each year and then pick out the favorites that still are my favorites. Maybe I'll do that because I think I think I've done favorites videos every year, so I could pick out all the ones that I think are my complete favorites. I think I'll do that. I need to write that down. My phone's right here. Maybe taking notes. Okay. Oh my gosh. I missed some questions in that second. What are the best, the most surprising, most disappointing, and the worst book you've read so far in 2019? Wow, that's a lot of questions. I need to look at like the books I've read this year. Best, The Starless Scene, which I know is not out yet, and that's not fair to say. And this is why I have time to compile all of my like favorites. Foundry Side is another favorite. Circe by Madeline Miller is another favorite. Um, Nevernight, which you guys knew was going to happen, is another favorite. Worst? Is that what you asked? Best, worst, most disappointing. Um, Worst, what's the very worst? I DNF'd The Shadow of the Fox because I didn't like it that much. I've started DNFing things this year. Slayer by Christian White might be my least favorite book of the year thus far. Um, Most disappointing is probably Wicked Saints, just because I had such high hopes for it, and King of Scars. Um, but I still they were like 3 stars for me. But I expected them both to be 5. So I still will continue with both those series. And then I already said the worst book. Do you have any new or new to you booktubers you're watching these days? I think the newest to me booktubers that I've started watching are like Ali Corvier and Just Reads books. I've been watching Just Reads books for a few months, but I haven't found any like more recent booktubers. Um, I started watching after BEA, uh, Jules. Um, Oh, I really like Natasha too from My Reading is Odd. I feel like I've been watching her for a long time because I watched her when she had a beauty channel. My eyeshadow is odd. So I feel like I've been watching her a lot longer than I have. Um, but those are just a few that I can think of on top of my head that I've started watching more recently. Um, Thoughts on Endgame? I thought Infinity War was better. That's all I'm going to say about that. Are you going to watch the new Spider-Man? I think I am. I have really been like, I think I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man, when the first Spider-Man movies that came out were some of my favorite movies, the Tobey Maguire ones. And so then I haven't really like watched as the reboots have happened, but I like love the new Spider-Man, so I think I need to like get into those movies. Um, Are you still planning on reading Restore Me, even after people said it wasn't that great? I'm not. So I do think I'm going to read it, but I'm not in a rush because I want to reread at least Unravel Me and Ignite Me before I read. Um, what did we say that the name of it was? Restore Me. Yeah. So I need to do that first. And again, it's hard for me to reread things when I have other things that I want to read that I'm actually um, interested in. How different is the Starless Scene from the Night Circus? They're different books, y'all. Not in the same series, because they're both standalones. It's I've already said this analogy in my wrap up, so I know you guys haven't seen it yet. But basically, it's like when you love an artist, like a band, and they only have one album, and you're waiting for their second album to come out. Sometimes second albums come out, and it's you're like your worst fear realized because they sound totally different and it doesn't even really feel like the same band. Like they don't get the same emotional reaction out of you. And sometimes second albums come out, and they're like it's different, but you get the same feeling from it and the same like emotional like oh my god my band is back. That's how I feel about the Starless Sea and Erin Morgenstern's second book. So now she's like, if anyone had any doubts at all that she was my favorite author before, and now it's like set in stone, like I am convinced I will love everything she ever writes. So, um, I guess I just learned to ignore sex scenes. I It sticks out in my brain. I can't like I skim them, but I'm just uncomfortable. I just like I don't want to be uncomfortable when I'm reading something, even if I have to skim it. Um, do you wait for series to gather more books before you start that series? No, because actually, if you do that, it's like it is not helpful to the author because the series might get canceled since so many people are just like waiting for more books in the series to come out. So if I'm interested in a series, I'll just at least read the first book so that I know that I like the series. Um, Later books in the series, like for example, I haven't read Republic of Thieves by Scott Lynch because I want there to be an actual release date for the next book in the series before I do that one, just because I don't want to wait a ton of time and have to reread it. Same thing for The Name of the Wind, the second book, Wise Man's Fear. I want there to be like a concrete release date, but I don't wait and have them pile up or anything. Um, what do you think about the recent hate on Brie Larson? Sounds like misogyny. I haven't seen anything about her recently. What, have people said that she's not like that she's conceited or something? I feel like I've seen it. I'm like, she acts the same way like a lot of men do, and you're gonna say that she's conceited. What the fuck ever. Um, so far, were your most anticipated reads for 2019 worth it? Um, Mixed bag. Starless Sea, yes. King of Scars, no. Wicked Saints, No. Again, I'll continue with both of those. Um, what else has come out in 2019 that's a new release? Those are the ones that are like really sticking out to me. So yeah, kind of a mixed bag. Are there any other books that came out in 2019? I mean, Holy Sister, again, I can't quite pin that down as to what went on with that. Again, maybe emotional attachment. Blood Witch, yes. Um, what else was a 2019 release? I think that's it. So it's been very like, I don't know. Um, any books you found pleasantly surprising? The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. Also the, is it called World on Fire series? The first book being A Shadow Bright and Burning, or the second book this year, A Poison Dark and Drowning. I found those pleasantly surprising. I really do enjoy them. Have you read or heard of An Assassin's Guide to Love and Treason? I have. I have not read it yet, but I have heard of it. In Endgame, I like Wanda versus Thanos. Agreed. I think anytime that she pairs up against somebody like that is it's just a very, very fun time. Weren't you spoiled for the ending of Restore Me? I was not. If you had to choose between The Night Circus and Starless Sea, which one would you choose as a better read? I can't. They're both so good. The Night Circus is my favorite book because it was the first one that I read by her, and I still just hold a special place in my heart. I also just like a lot of the like aesthetics and stuff like that. But it's not like it's like one's better than the other. It's like they're both great separately. So trust me, guys, it's good. Like Starless Sea is good. It's not gonna like reading the Starless Sea once recently is not going to top right now the years of me loving the Night Circus and reading it multiple times. But after years go by, would they be like totally equal in my head? Like probably. Right, with Robert Downey Jr.'s personality, people are like, he's totally like Tony Stark, but with Larson, they like have an attitude. Exactly. Why is that? Probably because she's a woman. What Marvel character do you want to have a movie? Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch the most. I wouldn't mind a Loki movie, but I'm not sure they do it very well. I don't always love the characterization of Loki, but probably Scarlet Witch and Black Widow. Although again, I don't trust the MCU with Black Widow at this point, so buh. What are your thoughts on the amount of in-between books that keep coming out for series? I don't love it. I feel like it's like when people write short stories about a certain character that everybody loves, I feel like it's sort of a money grab. I don't feel like it's always done just like spontaneously. I feel like there's also probably publisher push to do that. Are there any good tropes in the Starless Sea? Listen, okay, let me just explain this to you. The Starless Sea is basically a love letter to storytelling in any and all of its forms. It's so good. There are like very, very slight themes of like Persephone feelings. Not necessarily Hades and Persephone. Don't get your hopes up. But there's like talk of that time and fate and just symbols and like no one really being a villain, kind of like there was in the Night Circus where there's just antagonists and not really villains. It's good. It's a love letter to stories and storytelling and people that love stories and storytelling in all of its forms, and it's good. It's good shit. It's real good. Heard that the last book in A Shadow Bright and Burning is kind of bad, and I'm scared to start it because I don't want to be disappointed. The series itself is not like mind blowing. It's just kind of like fun candy. I mean, I kind of like it, so I think I'm gonna keep reading it. Still waiting for The Winds of Winter. Yeah, seriously getting pissed about that, and I will not read the series until it's released. I actually am. I was never invested before because I was like, I'll just watch the show. Now that the show happened, I'm kind of like, I'll read these books if he releases the rest of them and reliable sources tell me that the book endings are like good, which means I'll just screw myself to like so many books. But I would do that at this point because now some of my favorite characters, I feel like even if all the things that happen end up still happening, I know that George is going to write them better. So now I want to see what he does. I only see Brandon Sanderson in soft covers. Anyone know if it's in hardback? The Brandon Sanderson soft covers you probably see are the UK editions. The American editions are hardback mostly. So, hi, I'm from Michigan. I just started reading Timur and loving it. Oh, I'm so glad Timur is so good. Speaking of Michigan, I might want to move there or Minnesota. I don't know. I'm looking at a lot of places. I just want some more with lots of lakes and trees. Starless Scene US cover versus UK cover. I don't love either. So we'll see which special editions continue to come out, if any of them speak to my soul in the way that I felt the book spoke to my soul. Like, I want a similar feeling. How clearly do you picture events and characters in your head when you read? Talked about this before. Characters I don't picture like completely. I picture them more fuzzy. I picture mannerisms more than anything else, and like very few details. Although if somebody gets fan casted, I can tell you, that's not what I pictured. But like, not that I pictured them plainly. So like, I can actually go with a lot of fan casts for people, but it's less about their looks and more about their mannerisms and how they act as a character. Events kind of is hit and miss. Some books, I really plainly see the events that are unfolding, like the Mistborn books, for example, and some I'm like very lost. I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. So it really depends on the writing. Black Widow's getting a movie. Yes, I'm aware, but I don't know how it's gonna go. Would you watch Wanda and Vision's TV show? Yes, because I ship Wanda and Vision like really hard. So, do you want to have kids? I don't think so. I'm pretty set on the no, and I'm okay with that. Um, I don't completely disregard that maybe I could want them at some point, but I feel like I've gone enough time that I kind of feel like I don't. I also have multiple reasons besides just being like, I don't feel like I want them. There's other things that are like playing into that. Um, so at this point, I'm kind of like, I don't think so. Are you excited for The Witcher or the Wheel of Time series? Yes, both. Excited for The Witcher now that it looks like it might be good because they released new stills, and I'm like, they don't look like shit. What? Wheel of Time, I never want to read the books ever. I've talked about this before, but the series I think I could get behind, and they just cast Rosamund Pike, and I'm like, I think I need to watch this immediately. So I'm excited for both. Could you recommend your favorite fantasy romance? There's so many books that feature romance in them. Um, but I don't read any that are like strictly fantasy romance books, but books that feature romance in them. I feel like The Winter's Kiss is pretty good, or like the Winter's Trilogy. The Wrath and the Dawn for romance is pretty good. Um, hmm. A lot of my favorite romances aren't even a very major plot point. Like, I love the romance in Uprooted, but it's like literally 5% of the book. So I haven't really read any books that are like fantasy romance books that are like more romance than fantasy, you know what I mean? Um, I know you like video games, so have you heard of Cyberpunk? It comes out April 2020. Listen, apparently you don't follow me on Twitter because and Tumblr because I've been screaming about it since like 2013 when they like first announced it. I feel like it was 2013. It's been a long time since they first announced it. When the new trailer dropped at E3, I was like dying for a few days. I watched the trailer like probably 5 times a day for like a week. I'm trying to stay away from other content about it because I just want to go in like I went into Witcher 3 just like very blind and like having a great time. I don't like to look up a lot of video game stuff and like see almost like spoilers for it. But yeah, it's my most anticipated video game like of all time, and I think it's gonna be so good. I'm like not at all worried that's gonna be bad. I think it's gonna be so good. Um, have you read the Black Dagger Brotherhood series? I have not. Wanda shouldn't be defined as a love interest by Vision anymore. I don't think she is defined as his love interest. I feel like for me, Wanda feels like, which is why I've mentioned her not with Vision, and a couple different questions people have asked me. I don't feel like she is just like Vision's love interest. Like Wanda's blatantly more powerful in the MCU. She's used more in the MCU. So if anything, Vision's Wanda's love interest. Like not the other way around. Like they don't really like they don't employ Vision very often. They employ Wanda way more. And she feels very separate, where Vision to me doesn't quite feel as separate as Wanda does. My dad's been trying to get me to read the Shannara books for like a decade. Do you like them? I haven't read them, but I haven't heard great things either about them. Um, is there a series you would recommend for somebody who loves the Mass Effect series? I think the Wayfarer series by Becky Chambers, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet is the first book, is really good for the feeling of Mass Effect as far as like the day-to-day life stuff. I think the Expanse series is pretty good for more of the like action stuff. I think I'm going to end it on this question because I've been on for about like an hour and 15 minutes and I want to rest my voice before I go to a barbecue for 4th of July. Um, all in all, how do you feel about being on BookTube for 5 years, and do you feel like it's changed? I kind of answered this at the beginning, but I wanted to wrap it up at the end too. I am very happy to be on BookTube. I plan to continue to be on BookTube for a very long time. I still love it pretty much just as much as I did at the beginning, just for different reasons over the years. My reasons kind of change with the times and stuff. I feel like it definitely has changed. I feel like there's more of a it's just gotten bigger, so there's more divide between people, but there's kind of always been a divide between like bigger booktubers and smaller booktubers and like a lot of things that go on there. I love that publishing has kind of started to realize that booktubers and bloggers and bookstagrammers have a big impact on the book world and book community. I like that we have events, like a lot of events to choose from now. I like that BookNet Fest is a thing that really does have legs and can continue to be there for the book community going forward and having the discussions that we want to see and everything like that, and including a variety of different creators. I think there's so much more variety to choose from. It's not just like the same kind of people talking about the same kind of things. You can really find anything that you want to find on BookTube, and the types of people talking about the types of things you like reading, but also discovering new things and new people. So yeah, I am very happy to have spent the last 5 years on BookTube. I cannot see my life without it. I don't know where I'd be. It's one of my biggest hobbies and most time-consuming hobbies, and discussing things about reading and books is so fun. So yeah, I'm very grateful to have been a part of this community for 5 years. Here's to another 5. I can't imagine. Like I do get a feeling that at some point I won't be doing BookTube, but I don't know when that would be. Like I don't know what would drive me to do that, because 5 years in and I'm still really enjoying it. My reading tastes are changing and have changed over the years. You know, I read a lot more adult than I ever did. I'm very, very firmly like a fantasy and sci-fi, but mostly fantasy booktuber. I know what I like. So that's really fun. And just even watching stuff like my style evolve over the years and like me to become the person I fully am as a human, as an adult human, has been really great. So yeah, it's been a wild ride, really fun, mostly positive. And I'm very grateful to all of you that have been a major part of it, because the community is why I've been here from the beginning and having our discussions and talking about books and recommending books to one another and all of that. So if you guys have been here since like almost the beginning, thank you. If you've been here for just a couple of years or even just a couple of months or even just a couple of days, thank you. It's just been, it's crazy. I can't imagine not having this supportive community to be a part of. I think that BookTube makes me a better person, and you guys make me a better person and teach me a lot, and books teach me a lot. And I don't know where I would be without all the books that I've read and all the people that I've met along the way. So thank you guys for joining me. I don't want to hold up like everybody's time and everything, but definitely feel free to chat with me like on Twitter and Instagram and all the places you guys chat with me. You know, that's again why I'm here, to engage with you guys about book stuff. So thank you all for making the last 5 years. Again, I can't believe I've been here for 5 years. So enjoyable, and so rewarding. And hopefully I've also made part of your life enjoyable and rewarding as well. So thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye. Bye.